But they sit up out of their seats and they're just um, uh, see, the women here are so friendly. So anyway, hi, this is Passport Brother Todd again. This is probably going to be the last video about Thailand. Right now I'm in Pattaya, so I'm going to talk about Pattaya. I leave in a couple of days to Mexico, so this is probably definitely my last video on Thailand. And give me maybe a week or two to tell you about Mexico after I get there. Okay, so I've been in Pattaya for about 3 weeks. I first was down in Janjian Beach, which is more residential. Now I'm up at Pattaya Beach. And everybody said that, Pattaya is nothing but a big brothel, house of ill repute. All the women are professionals. But that's like saying New York is the same thing, a big brothel and all the women are hoes. Pattaya is a big place. It has like 3 to 4 towns in it, connected to it. Pattaya Beach, Janjian Beach, and a couple other towns I've been to. Just in this local area. And there's a lot of women here who don't work in that particular adult entertainment industry. People and women that I talk to, like the one you saw in the beginning of the video, she could be professional or a freelancer, but she had a little doggy with her, so she wasn't working during that point in time. But most of the women who approach me or tell me they're interested got jobs. They're working in a restaurant, they're working at a kiosk store at the mall, they're working, for like a print shop or a copy shop like a Kinko's or Office Max, So they have respectable jobs. Now, when I was in Janjian Beach, I met a guy, he was been here, another passport brother. He'd been here for about 2 months, and he said he had a girlfriend and they broke up because he said you have to screen them. Of course, like any place, you have to screen them, they have to screen you to make sure you two are compatible and everything else. But he said while he was down there, he did not run into any freelancers. And met another guy from Virginia, another passport brother, and he said that he's been coming to Thailand for about 1.5 years. He comes mostly to Pattaya, but he's been to Janjian, to Phuket. And he said that he would never trust any of the women here. He said all the women here are scammers, professionals, liars, and they can't be trusted. But he mostly goes to the bars, the nightclubs, that sort of thing. So his perspective is a little bit different than the other guy's perspective, and maybe different than yours. So it all depends on your lifestyle, what you're used to. I don't go to the bars or the nightclubs, so all the women that I'm talking about are not in that particular setting. Now, I have been approached once by I think a freelancer, but I didn't pay it too much attention. And there are a couple of them that do live my building in this Airbnb. All right. Now, but you also have to look at Thailand's history and how it was developed. Because just because they're a freelancer and one of those type of girls does not mean that they do not make, or they will not make good wives and mothers. I mean, take Colombia for example. In Colombia, you go to one of the bars or one of the nightclubs and outside is filled with women. But most of the women are freelancers and everyone knows that. But that's their culture in Colombia. During the daytime, they may be school teachers and sales clerks, and at night, they're doing freelance work. But that's what Colombia is. Thailand is sort of the same way, or could be the same way. I mean, considering the fact that back in the 80s, Thailand was considered the brothel of the whole world, especially Bangkok. And in the late 80s, early 90s, they thought that most people in Thailand would be dead in 4 years from AIDS. Because it was considered the big brothel of the whole world. But they pulled it together and they recovered, which was amazing. Everyone was impressed. The whole world was impressed by what Thailand did back then. Now, I also consider the fact that a lot of the men who come here, because Thailand is very inexpensive to live, very inexpensive. And you can live here almost in any city in Thailand for about $1,000 per month. That includes food, housing, rent, and transportation, and dating. That a lot of men who come here talk to these girls stop working and they start living with these men. But that is no real security for the women, because the guy, he can just pack up his bags anytime and just leave the country. Or he doesn't even have to do that. He can just kick her out and bring in a younger, fresher woman. So she go out grocery shopping, and then when she gets back home, all the locks have changed. So the women really have no security unless you put a ring on it, unless you marry them. And that is not really 100% guaranteed, but at least it's telling them that I'm committed to you. Right now, just living with them is not giving them any security. The Thai government recognized this about 10 years ago, and they made a law that says if she's not working and she's living with you, and you buy a condo or anything, she's entitled to half, which is good. But it's one thing to have a law, it's another thing to be able to implement it, because even if it's implemented and you leave, she's have to hire a lawyer and all that other bunch of stuff, and she has no income. Now, you can say that, well, I have a condo and she's living with me, and that should give her some type of security. No, it doesn't. Because the fact of the matter is she has no income. So even if you leave, she still have to pay the condo's fees, maintenance fees. If something breaks, she has to pay for that, and she has no income to do that. And if she doesn't really know that much about banking and finance and loans and everything else, she may not know what to do when it comes to going to the bank to be able to sell that condo. So just because you bought a condo and she's living with you, and have the law does not give her any real security. So I point that out for Richie Mack of Zoom to Thailand, Travel Velocity, and this girl Lucky, and the Chocolate Man in Thailand, and this girl who got those raptor's claws, and those claws are half her size. I don't know why these men do not just marry them. Yeah, they can make a many type of excuse, like Richie could say, I was married before and I don't want to get involved. Okay, fine. But are you looking at it from her perspective? What type of real security are you offering her? If you marry her and you stay married to her and you die, at least she gets her Social Security. She can apply for death spousal benefits. Right now, she has no real security. Yes, like you said, she could get half your condo, but at the same time, if it's paid off, if there's no loan on it, but at the same time she has no income, so she cannot be able to pay the maintenance fees or the condo fees or anything else. So that's no real security that you guys are offering these women. So yeah, when you go out to the bars and the nightclubs and you meet these girls, they may have done some freelance work on the side or scamming a whole bunch of dudes all around the world, But given Thailand's history of seeing men come in, using them, leaving, and they're left high and dry, or being kicked out on the street and they have nothing, it can be kind of understandable how their culture has changed over the years. So, like Colombia, these women could be very good, sweet, caring, loving wives and mothers. And after watching all of you guys' channels, Chocolate Man, Zoom, Travel Velocity, and Lucky, those girls seem to be very good women. And we know Lucky, she has done some work on the side, but she seems to be treating him very well. Now you can say that, yeah, these guys are paying these women, but, and it might be true. But at the same time, we don't know how these women are going to react or what they're going to do if you decide or they decide to get married to them. You know, they may be paying them, but these women are some hellified actors. I mean, they're acting really, really good. But at the same time, these women have no real security because the guy can just pack in bags and he can just leave. Now, like I said, I've been in Pattaya for about 3 weeks now, and I'm about to leave. And all the women I have shown interest in me from I got in the Pattaya, took the bus down because flew in from Cebu, and they didn't lose my luggage, they held part of my luggage over a can of shaving cream. I mean, I've been to Vietnam, Philippines, back to Thailand, back and forth, and now, like I said, the Philippines is very chaotic. So I got my luggage finally 2 days later after I got here, and I went to the mall. And at the mall, I finally got some clean clothes and some clean underwear. From day one, from that day on, I have not had a woman who has not shown interest in me in some kind of way. I mean, these women work at the mall. I was looking for a pair of shorts that one day. The silk lady, who was maybe in her early to mid 30s, showed a lot of interest. Walking through the mall, another woman who may be in her mid 20s, showed a lot of interest. I left that alone. And she wasn't bad either. Sitting outside the mall, having a cigarette. Girl walked by who was in the early 20s. I smiled. She looked at me and she smiled back. And then she walked away and she turned and she looked at me again. And it's hasn't been a day has gone by when I've been in Pattaya where I have not had that experience. Now, I've seen the freelancers on Pattaya Beach in the daytime and at night, and these girls are not freelancers, or at least they weren't working. Now, the other guy who I talked to, who's been coming here for a year and a half, he said, yeah, all of them are freelancers. Everything is open for grabs. Everyone has a price. That may be true. I don't know. I haven't really experienced a lot of these women, but at the same time, a lot of the girls he gets is at the club, the nightclub, or at the bars. The women I would be pursuing, like I said, are girls who work at the restaurants, the girls who work at the print shop, the girls who work at the juice stand. Those are the women that I would be more attracted to, the ones who work at Starbucks or the ice cream shop. So I may have a different experience than him. And a lot of other men that I've talked to who also been here, the ones who I met at the airport, because at the airport in Bangkok, a lot of the black guys who I talked to were all coming to Pattaya, and they all had their girlfriends or wives with them, and they have a different perspective than he did. But at the same time, they could have met their wives or their girlfriends in a completely different situation. But so far, I must say, when it comes to Pattaya, it's pretty good for black men. Now, before I forget, Pookie and Ray Race. I did see two of them here in Pattaya, so they are getting out of the country, dudes. It was 2 o'clock in the afternoon, saw 2 guys drinking. It wasn't on Pattaya Beach or in the tourist area, they were just drinking they had their cups in their hands, and they've been drinking. You can see they were tipsy or drunk. And this one woman just got off work and see she was exhausted and just wanted to go home. And they approached her and they started, talking to her as if she was some kind of barmaid or barho. You know what I mean? And I felt so embarrassed. I mean, the girl, and even she just got off work. You can see she was exhausted. She ignored them and she just kept walking away. I'm thinking to myself, okay, you guys should have a good time. It's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And you guys are already drunk. And you're on the street, nowhere near the bars, nowhere near the tourist areas. And you act like you're showing this type of behavior. It was embarrassing, if I was black or American. So, the Pookies and the Ray Rays are getting out here. But I think that most of the women here recognize that passport brothers, or us African American men, the majority of us are good, decent men, because all the ones I saw in the airport who had their girlfriends or wives with them, or the ones who I met, have all been good, decent men. And I think that's what they're used to. One of the other things I notice is that a lot of the women, when they get off from work, they may be working all night at the bars or whatever, at 7 o'clock in the morning, 8 o'clock in the morning, and they're going home. That could also be a pretty good time to talk to them, if they show you interest. You know, at least the older ones. And they're not trying to be freelancers or anything else like that. They generally, when you look at them and they look at you, they generally want a relationship or a boyfriend. They're not looking at you as another customer. They just got done dealing with customers. They just want, if you look at them and you saw them walking home, you can see the body language, the facial expressions and everything else, that they're looking at you as a potential mate, a potential partner, not some, potential victim that they can take advantage of. So like I keep saying, that because of the culture here, it's because they may be freelancers or they worked in that industry, does not mean that they won't make good wives and great mothers. Like I said in my earlier videos, Thailand has no food stamps, no unemployment, no alimony, no Section 8 housing, no social programs whatsoever. So if something happens to them or they need extra money, they have to do what they have to do. So because of that, because of the culture, and because of all the stuff I mentioned, just because they may have done that kind of work in the past, does not mean that they're not good women. It's not the United States. The rules here are different. Obligations and expectations are a lot different. And like with any adult, sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do, man. You may not like doing it, You may wish you had something better, And a lot of these women don't want to be wives and mothers. But it's hard to do that if you can't find a man who's going to stay with you. And jobs here are hard to find, and good paying jobs are really hard to find. I mean, most of these people, whether they're men and women, do not make a lot of money. Not all. I mean, my bus ticket, 2 hours to go back up to Bangkok, was only $5. So I got 2 seats, and that's $10. And they thought and some people thought that was a lot of money. I'm like, it's $10, man. So, but like I keep saying in my other videos, my past videos, date a woman who has a respectable job and get out of the tourist areas if you want a respectable woman. Now, since it's going to be my last video, I'm going to try to sum it up between which one would I choose, Thailand, Vietnam, or the Philippines. They all have their virtues, and they all have their problems. I want to know which one to pick. Now, I have to admit, before I came here to Asia, my number one pick, like a lot of men around the world, would be Colombian and Venezuelan women. A lot of men feel that way. Even my nephews, said, Todd, you go to Colombia, I'll join your ass. But after coming to Asia, Philippines, Vietnam, Thailand, I no longer have a favorite. I mean, the women here might not be as audacious as the Colombians or the Venezuelans in Asia, but they do have virtues that more than make up for it. More than make up for it. Okay, I guess this is gonna be my last video, and I'm gonna sign off here, and hopefully my next video is gonna be about Mexico. I'm going to Cancun. Hopefully that video won't be too boring. I hope you guys enjoyed my series on Asia, And I hope that all the other videos that are out there are like the beaches and stuff like that, and what to expect and driving around, not just ones related to passport brothers, but the scams and the malls and shopping. It gives you a good idea of what to expect if you decide to come here. Now I do understand that a lot of men do not have the money or the resources to get on a plane and come to Thailand. And if they did have the savings, they may not have the opportunity because they can't leave their jobs or anything else like that, or the jobs don't pay that much. I understand all of that stuff. And when it comes to income or money, there's nothing I can say and there's nothing I can do to really help you. But at least now you have a goal. And your goal from everything I told you has been real, direct, no BS. I just told you the straight things, everything that I have observed and I saw. So you know that if you have the goal to come here and you plan on doing it, you know what to expect. So now you have something to try to plan and look forward to, and you know what to expect, so you won't just come here and get ripped off and disappointed. You spend all that money and all those years saving, all of your cash. Because I wasn't trying to make everything sound better than what it is, or make everything sound great and exciting and wonderful, because it's not. I mean, to me the food sucks. It's not that cheap because the portion size is a lot smaller, so you're going to end up buying two. So plan on spending about $10 a meal. Rent can be very cheap, depending on where you go. You can get after you get here, you go on Facebook or other places, you can find a nice studio or one bedroom for about $250 to $300 a month. Internet is kind of spotty. It's not all. It's really not all that great. You can get yourself a scooter that costs like $100 a month, but take the class. It's a two-day class to get your motorcycle license. Go on the internet or go down to the local DMV or Department of Public Transit. Sign up for a class. It only costs $30. Only costs $30, and that includes your license, your medical exam, and the class is a 2-day class, and it goes over the whole thing. And by the time you get done with 2-day class, you take the test, and you get your driver's license on the 3rd day, your motorcycle license, and that will save you a lot of money. It's an easy course. 8 hours one way, 8 hours the first day, 8 hours the second, and you get your driver's license on the 3rd day. Like I said, it covers everything. And some of those classes are as little as $30 for 2 days, up to maybe $45 to $50. Like I said, that includes the class, your motorcycle license, your what's that other thing? Your medical examination, your residency. Well, it covers they cover all the requirements. Okay, man. I'm out of here. I'm going to Mexico.